experience, a veteran of life, who knows what losing means. He's become a champion of all our hearts. He's a loving husband and father. He's dedicated his life to the noble profession of entertainment. And he's here to make you smile. He's here to make you cry. He's here to make you feel alive. Let me tell you, the atmosphere is electric in the room tonight. Here he comes, Big Kitty.
Good morning. I said, how much longer? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What? Oh no, it's good. Capture the stars with a hammer, a leaf, or a frying pan. Fire in a garbage can, match strikes the anvil, a bundle of sticks being pulled backwards like a man on a train to the bottom of nowhere. See the passengers watching him drool. See, hear the passengers listening to him murmuring. I gotta take a nap. Sorry, can't sleep. Thanks to my biggest fan. Do you see her sitting over there, all alone, always in the open air, with a tarp for when it rains? Was she ever a baby? Did she make her mother smile and cry as she grew? Did she ever have those two front teeth missing? Did she ever wear pigtails? Did she ever struggle to learn how to ride a bicycle? And then one day, feel the wind blowing in her face? Or was she simply placed into being as she is today, sitting there on that park bench beside the ocean, hearing the sound of the waves, and exposed, completely exposed to the elements, the scorching summer sun and the violent rainstorm, but worst of all, assaulted by the eyes of all the tourists that fill up this crowded beach town. You must know, if only you could know what happened. What was the secret? What happened to her and what changed her life? Why did she end up sitting on that park bench all the time under the tarp? Do you see her sitting over there all alone, always in the open air with a tarp for when it rains? Under the tarp, a dark and humid place, forbidding intrigue, where all of her possessions are stuffed into reusable grocery bags, except for a few old paperback books scattered upon the ground beside the bench next to her sleeping terrier Mutt. And whether those books, those old paperback books, are for sale or simply arranged according to some inscrutable design, very few deign to discover, except for you. You seem to be different. You must know these secrets. You must know the answers. Because you, and only you, it seems that only you are the one who really cares. Are you really the only one who really cares? Do you see her sitting over there all alone, always in the open air with a tarp for when it rains? You approach her and you notice the yellow toenails sticking out of her sandals, chalky skin. And just beside that, just beside her feet, there's a paper plate held by the weight of 2 nickels and a penny from the wind. You put it together. This is where she accepts the offerings of those generous enough to give her a little bit of their spare change. So you stuff your hands into your pockets and you dig around in there until you find a dollar bill, and you place that bill underneath those coins, bending over. And just at that moment, she springs into motion, ruffles through her old paperback books and picks one out and puts it in your hand, and you say, "Oh, thank you." And you move on very quickly, almost scared. You walk along the beach and finally work up the nerve to see what the book is she's given you, and you see it's a copy of The Sum of All Fears by Tom Clancy. And though it is not a normal type of story that you like to read, well, you haven't really got a choice this time. You must read it. You do read it, and you find that the sum of all fears is really not all that bad. Jarman Kennedy. They would speak to me, but they speak far too quietly. They would be kind if they ever thought to pay me, but their money is so small that I can't see it. I can't see it. No, I can't see it at all. Far away in foreign countries that I don't see. There are people who died long ago that I don't see. Yet I feel oftentimes that they have entered me. Worst of all is when the spirit escapes my body and I don't see me, but I couldn't move. I'm stuck in this old house for good, 'cause I'm afraid no one else would see them in this neighborhood. I think my favorite one of all is Dr. Kennedy. Everywhere in his hair, but I don't see. He's aware of the air, and he tricks us so we seem to see. And I get the feeling that the doctor isn't where he is supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be here at all. arms are where the wind blows down the road, and there's nothing left below. He's a stone without a bone. Though I'm an abstract shape now, I once was Mercury. The people so adored me, I really did believe that Mercury was me. And I could fly with God's speed, though I never left this spot. And now I see I'm just a rock some guy made look like a guy in a book. All you people are so strange to me. You live and die so quickly. But I really feel sympathy. But you are still so strange to me. And I wonder if somebody else in a future society could make me into someone new. You know, I hope they do. I really hope they do. If I should float away, would the police send their choppers and pull me down to jail? Would you come to rescue me and pay my bail? If I should float away, I'd shake off my skin and bones like a cumbersome cold, just to make 'em think I died while I float. It doesn't help, you're right. You know, it's funny because I'm from around here. I've been gone for a long time, It's funny when you leave a place, you learn something about the memory. When you leave a place where you've been for a long time, perhaps you've had this experience, you remember certain things about it very well, but not everything because it's too much. And so a lot you forget inevitably. And so when you come back, you remember that you forgot a lot of stuff. And so I was born in Maryville, Tennessee, very close to here. And going back to Maryville, I had totally forgotten that it's a completely vague void. It's a completely formless and shapeless void. As though it was made out of vapor or maybe silly putty or something. So it was really hard finding my way around, remembering that there's no streets or names or addresses, just kind of like a cloud. It's been a long time, but I'm glad to be back into it.
You don't forget about it.
Yeah. Don't forget about you. Davis is thinking of the changes of Davis's thinking. Davis is dreaming. When a housefly buzzes by, he turns his head and is watching the days go by so fast. He's looking back at his past when he hears his name. Davis goes to work. Remember September, October, November. No. 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 Silent opening door. Yellow light footsteps and nothing more. Davis is drowning in the shadows of Davis is screaming. Davis is drinking. And the children slip away to save what they, and he's washing the blood off in the sink. He's trying hard to stop thinking, or that's how it seems. Davis goes to work. Remember September, October, November. No. 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 Silently opening door. Yellow light slices across the floor. Davis is posing for a painting of Davis is pissing. Davis is people pleasing. With a sigh she puts the paintbrush behind her, and she's watching the birds fly in the rain from a rocking chair behind the liquid window. Davis goes to work. Remember September, October, November. No. 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 I don't remember anymore. a piece of wood, a staff, a live with leaves sprouting. If I were not to hold you, still you will be standing, still you would be leaving, waiting for someone, waiting for the work to begin. Well, I tell you, you're not gonna have to wait much longer now. Because I hear them calling. Good thing it's quiet here. 'Cause they're using the birds to say. A red and brown house, a sick man dying, a head thinking, speaking to the fog, the cold morning, a skeleton, a skull, wide-eyed, only to be beaten into gold. Like a fish flying out of the water on a line, only to be lying in a bucket and then frying in a pan, only to become some protein in another man. Though that's not all, for organism sometimes take the organs or guns away and live.
I think it's time for the nap now. It's really hard to sing like that. Applause. That's thanks to Steve. I've got tap shoes on. Tap. Got shoes on. Tap. Tap. Shoes on tap.
Shoes on tap.
Shoes on. Guitars is shoes on tap. Right. Shoes on. Tap shoes on. Confusing. Everything is confusing. I'm gonna borrow somebody's pick. So, as you know, the news is people get their news different ways. People get their news from newspaper, in the past more so. Now they get it from internet. Before they got TV, still a little bit of TV in there. A long time ago they got it from songs. And so I want to bring that back, news from songs. This is something that should be in the news. Maybe it would be in one of those more local news. Local to Memphis. Not really to Knoxville, but same state.
I was living on the other side of Memphis. It's west of there. Just over the Arkansas line. When I dreamed that I killed Elvis, I stabbed him with a bloody knife. Well, there was no reason why I did it. You know, I'd always been a really big fan. But when I woke up at 4:44 this morning, well, the knife was still in my hand. So I called up the police station to tell them just exactly what I'd done. Last night I killed Elvis, I said, and I hadn't got the heart to run. Well, the police lady on the other side said, please, sir, don't worry. You know what happened to you? It was surely just a dream. Sir, Elvis died back in the 1970s. Now you just try and go on back to sleep. But I couldn't sleep, so I walked all around in my house to try to find out what exactly I did. And sure enough, there lay Elvis, face down in the hallway dead. And I knelt down beside him, put my hand on his shoulder, and got a closer look to see if it was really him. To my surprise and delight, he was still breathing, softly humming an old-time hymn. And he sang for me, "Be thou my vision." And he asked me for a glass of water. "You sure put up quite a fight last night, son. You nearly killed your dear old father." Well, there's two things that I learned this morning, and both of them have changed my life. Elvis Presley is my father, and he shall never die. And the king shall never die. Sorry for the unasked for opinion, but on the subject of film, there's different ways of watching films. You can discuss that amongst yourselves. How'd I know that you'd be here this time? Standing in the post office line. It's been so long that you cut your hair. I wish you'd smile at me, but you're just staring straight ahead there. I only wish that you would leave this place with me. If life could only be so sweet. I did some things I wish I hadn't done, but now I know that you're the only one. My only wish was to be an apple in a tree. You see, there's never gonna be another woman who could hold my hand. Understand? I got a job stocking vending machines. I keep the old apartment very clean. I thought life would quickly pass me by, but now I'm gonna make an honest try. My only wish was to be an apple in a tree. You see, there's never gonna be another woman who could hold my hand. Understand? I've abandoned all my old tricks now, but I still haven't caught on to that Netflix now. Still got my old TV set. The screen is curved, and it ain't flat. I still search those library stacks, looking for the DVDs that aren't too scratched. And I still got my good old DVD player. Got my popcorn popper that works by hot air. You're gonna see that popcorn, it comes out so clean. Cleanest popcorn that you ever seen. Just melt a little butter on top. That iodized salt, that really makes it hot. Salted popcorn. Salted popcorn.
With a harmonica. Everybody loves harmonica. I know that for a fact. This song is pretty popular in India. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked out of my window. But I could tell that something wasn't right. The moon was not on his pillow. I threw all the blankets on the floor and ran out in the meadow. I saw the moon open up my door and cover up my saddle. I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night, and the moon, she looked so. I woke up in the middle of the night to AM radio static. The white clover in the middle was so bright, I watched it bloom from the attic. What holds the powder on the ball? In twilight see it showing. I wish its light were a wall around us, softly glowing. Glowing, glowing, glowing. And as I plunge into the void, a dying crowd surrounds me. Drown out the bright blue sky, and the moon ran up and found me. Love you, love you, love. that all there's time for? Very short? Oh, okay. Damn. Well, let me play you a song about my sensitive head. See, I got a very sensitive head. Sometimes it just blows up. See if this works. Many of you. Her eyes were like diamonds, they sparkled in the dew. I couldn't bear to look at them, I didn't know what to do. We were eating red steak and drinking red wine when my head exploded so real that it looked fake. The waiters put the fragments of my head in doggy bags. We had to leave the restaurant amid an orchestra of gags. My love, she labored long with clamps and glue and sweat. And just at the moment that she rebuilt my head and my eyes reopened on the sparkling surprise of the diamonds floating in the sky of her eyes, a pulse of adoration burst apart my fragile head, and my brains and my blood, well, they never looked so red. When my head exploded, never looked so red. When my head exploded, only a chair. Once there was a chair. It was a great old chair. When I sat in it, it was old enough to break, but it held on by a single thread. Now it's the cow's turn to sit. I doubt it shall survive. What a great old chair we had. It always set the best of examples. It was the very reason, sitting at the table, why I woke up from my nap and made my way into business. And business was very good. And sucking up the moisture from the mud was very good as well. Soon the chair will be reduced to kindling. We'll put it in the fire where it will keep us very, 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 very hot, 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 hot. Thank you very much.